I'm Dr. Kathryn Slaughter-Mehfoud, a WesternU graduate of the DVM class of 2017. I grew up in North Carolina surrounded by a variety of animals, and I desired to be a veterinarian since the age of 4. My parents were extremely influential in fostering my passion, constantly providing support and encouragement. I earned my undergraduate degree at Virginia Tech, where I not only majored in animal and poultry sciences, but I also met the love of my life. I traveled across the country to attend Western U's College of Veterinary Medicine, graduated in 2017, while simultaneously achieving my master's degree in public health from the University of Minnesota. After veterinary school, I remained in California, completing an equine surgery internship. Following my internship, I moved to Illinois to complete my residency in equine surgery at the University of Illinois. Following my equine surgery residency, I moved to Louisville, Kentucky, and worked as a mixed animal surgeon. For the past 4 years, I've been serving the Louisville area with a heavy focus on promoting high quality medicine and surgery, client advocacy, and leadership development. For the past 9 months, I have served as an associate veterinarian at VEG ER for Pets, formerly Veterinary Emergency Group, in Indianapolis, Indiana. While awaiting the opening of VEG Louisville, where I will serve as the medical director, and we are in full swing on the operations side of setting up and getting ready for our hospital opening next year. When I'm not engrossed in veterinary medicine, I delight in spending time with my husband and our children on our ranch. I thoroughly enjoy competitive running, high intensity strength fitness, ranch life, and my adorable Siberian Husky, 2 German Shepherds, and 2 horses. Since graduation, I've worked in the private, corporate, and university sectors of veterinary medicine. I feel very blessed to work for VEG ER for Pets for many reasons, one of which is their mission to help people and their pets when they need it the most. It is very inspirational to go to work every day and work for a company whose core values are openness, togetherness, meaningful moments, and heroic helping. As far as what drives me, I work for thank yous. I love seeing the smile on owners' faces and the pain relief in the pets' eyes when we have helped and healed a pet, strengthening and lengthening the lifespan of the human animal bond. I also love seeing my veterinary nurses engaged with pet owners, and I love seeing them happy in the veterinary industry. As far as what I'm passionate about, I am particularly passionate about providing optimal patient care, team building, and clinical teaching. I am thrilled with the opportunity to help open the first radical concept ER for veterinary emergency medicine and surgery in the state of Kentucky. VEG ER for Pets is becoming the world's veterinary emergency company, where people drive by fancier, bigger hospitals and come to our hospital, and they drive out of their way to come to our hospital based on the experience that they receive and that their pets receive at our hospitals. We're radically open concept ER, and I'm most excited about being part of the movement that keeps people and their pets together and that does not separate them in a waiting room or an examination room. They get to stay with their pet the entire time. We are rapidly growing. Like I said, we'll be the first in state of Kentucky next year. And I'm really thrilled to be a part of this rapidly growing movement. I honestly never considered another career path. I was always very drawn to medicine and animals together, and veterinary medicine was the perfect connection for those 2 passions I had at a very young life. While pursuing my undergraduate degree at Virginia Tech, I was heavily engrossed in the horse industry, including competing for their Western riding equestrian team, competing on their horse judging team, and caring for my personal horse. I entered veterinary school with a passion for all things equine and quickly found a passion for the thrill and pressure of surgery. At that time in my life, equine surgery was a very attractive profession for me because I thrive under pressure. I'm a critical thinker and I love performing intricate procedures. Um, I think that those things make a really great surgeon, those characteristics, the thriving under pressure, critical thinking, and loving really intricate, detailed procedures. And I mixed in horses with that since my background was in horses and I owned horses and was very passionate about the animal. Um, I have since left equine surgery, but I'm still heavily involved in veterinary surgery, where I perform surgery on a variety of animals, and I'm still able to foster both passions. I have my personal horses at home, but I'm able to still perform surgery under the residency training I received, and I'm also able to teach younger veterinarians as well. I definitely entered veterinary school expecting to be an equine the rest of my life, which has changed. However, I always envisioned performing surgery and being involved in leadership and team development, as well as management and growth of a company. When asked what was the catalyst that pushed me away from equine surgery, it was ultimately my family. I was pregnant with my second child and still being an equine surgeon, and I was working 90 hours plus a week, taking radiographs while pregnant, getting kicked while pregnant. And it just was not a healthy option for my family to continue down that path. So that was the ultimate catalyst of why I left that specific industry. But I am personally much happier than I ever would have envisioned in veterinary school. I'm married and have a wonderful family, and I am very fortunate to work for a company that um, principles and core values I strongly align with, and where I still get to perform surgery routinely and do clinical teaching and inspire our young veterinarians. That fills my bucket more than the previous life I had in equine surgery ever did. I think it's easy to say, "Oh, it would have been easier if I'd done a residency in small animal surgery versus equine surgery." Um, I would say I don't regret it. I learned a lot from that surgical residency. Surgical principles are surgical principles, and they are able to be transferred across species. And I have really had zero resistance or problems transferring the information and the skill set that I learned in equine surgery over to small animal surgery. That has been a very fluid transition, and that's really the beauty of our profession is you can be very focused on one thing for a whole decade of your career, and our profession allows us to completely 180 and go another direction. So I would say I don't regret it as far as the skill set because I was able to carry it over, and I also don't regret it because I learned a lot of grit. I have a lot of grit and a lot of perseverance. And I do not know if I had not done an equine surgery residency, would I have formed into the same person I am today? I'm now a very strong leader. I'm also a very humble person and, have made mistakes and gone down different career paths. And so doing that career and that equine surgery residency shaped who I am today. And that's ultimately led me to the position in my current career. So I would have to say I do not have any regrets. When I was in my equine surgery residency, I was in my final year and I was pregnant with my daughter. And we had a little miniature horse come in with a fractured radius. It was a dislocated fracture. And if you know anything about radial fractures in horses, it's usually a death sentence. Um, think the literature shows that it's about a 6% survival rate. Best case scenario, maybe 10% for long term use for the horse and survival rate. And this horse was owned by a precious little girl who was 4 years old. And I was pregnant with my daughter at the time, and she loved this horse. It was her best friend, and her owners ultimately wanted to give the horse a chance. And so they did go through with the surgery, knowing that it was a long, hard road to recovery and that there was a very high chance of an unsuccessful outcome and that the horse would ultimately be euthanized and succumb to its injuries. Maybe not today or in the next week, but ultimately due to surgical site infections or breaking the leg again in recovery or any time in the recovery process. So they were very aware and they wanted to go for it. And that horse stayed in the hospital for about 4 months, right up until I delivered my daughter. And that was a very big bonding moment for me with the owners and the horse, and being able to connect the human animal bond at the time that I was also pregnant with a daughter who I knew would love horses. That was a very special case for me. And that horse did end up surviving. Her owners gave it everything they had, and she's alive and well today. Well, I actually knew an alumni from Western University. They did their equine surgery residency at Virginia, Maryland Regional College of Veterinary Medicine, Dr. Caitlin O'Shea. She was in one of the very first classes of Western U's College of Veterinary Medicine. I had worked with her when I was an undergrad. I did work with her in the large animal wing at the veterinary school there, where I was cleaning stalls and she was doing surgery. But I was able to witness her capabilities and her skill set, her communication skills. I was able to overhear how she worked through cases with her peers and with veterinary students, and it was extremely inspirational. And so I knew she graduated from Western University, which did inspire me to apply to Western University. Once I applied and I flew out to California for the interview, I was extremely impressed by the curriculum that they had there. I loved the structure of the learning compared to other veterinary schools. I'm a big supporter of problem based learning curriculum. I'm personally a testament to how it works. And I think it's truthfully how the world works is by you're presented with a problem, solve it. And how Western U challenged my mind and really changed the way I approach a case, approach any problem in life, and solve it. Really gave me the skills I needed to be successful in veterinary medicine and in my personal life. Again, I'm a very big proponent of problem based learning, and I do believe it is the way of the future for our educational system. Study, get good grades. They don't have to be perfect, but they do need to be good grades to showcase your learning capabilities. You don't have to make straight A's. You need to get really close. Focus on your studies because that's ultimately what's going to get your application looked at. Do not neglect volunteering at veterinary hospitals, cleaning kennels, volunteering at your local zoo, your animal shelters. Definitely get involved in your community in the veterinary industry in some capacity. That's going to one open your eyes to what makes you tick, what makes you passionate about veterinary medicine, what pulls at your heartstrings in the community. That will also inspire you to study more, to get those good grades, to get into veterinary school. And those would be my biggest two advices. Chase after, opportunities in the veterinary industry in your community. Don't take no for an answer. If a place says they can't afford another part-time veterinary assistant in the summer, well, go do it for free. Volunteer your work hours. Show them what you have. Show interest. One, stop worrying about tomorrow. Plan for tomorrow, but don't worry about tomorrow. As veterinary students, there's always an exam, there's always a test, a pop quiz. Stop worrying about tomorrow. Enjoy the education process, enjoying learning in your professors, this wealth of knowledge. Plan for tomorrow, but don't worry about tomorrow. My second piece of advice would be smile often, even when you're sad, smile often, even when you're stressed. Your coworkers, your colleagues, your professors, they need to see you smile. And your smile encourages them, even if they are having a bad day. We can get very stressed in veterinary school, feel overwhelmed that it's way too much information for us to retain. You will retain it. You will pass boards. You will become a veterinarian. Western U sets you up for success. So definitely take the time to stop and smile and be happy that you are where you're at. You got into veterinary school. You're here. You did it. Smile. Be joyous about that. Three would be, don't feel guilty for spending time with your family. You're in a rigorous educational system that takes away a lot of your time from your family for studying. Just don't feel guilty when you do step out on a Friday night to spend some time with your family or your friends. Don't feel guilty about that. You are studying, you're going to do amazing, amazing things. Never neglect the people who helped get you where you are and who shape who you are today.